So this is going to be the hardest and quite possibly the longest video I've done so far, because this one is about me. Um, so yeah, I always knew that I was a bit weird, a bit different, all those kind of things, which is fine, and it's not really been something in my adult life I'm worried about. Probably more like obviously when you're a kid you want to fit in and everything, but as an adult I don't really care so much. But yeah, it wasn't until I had Jade and like all the difficulties that Jade had that you kind of realise quite how many of them are in you and quite how similar you are to your child, which I think to me is a blessing because wobbly camera, I do apologise. Yeah, I think being similar to Jade makes me a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? I could connect with him on a whole different level because I understand like the majority of the things he struggled. I mean, I never had like obviously speech and language delays or anything like that, and I didn't struggle academically in school, but the majority of the things that he struggles with kind of socially and all those kind of things, I'm the exact damn same. So I'll start off, I don't know which way around to do it. I'll start off with now and things that I still struggle with day to day, and then we'll kind of go back to when I was a child, like afterwards. I have made a list, and this is the first video I've done with a list, and I think it's a video I've put off doing. It was kind of probably one of the first things that I really thought about doing, but then I've kind of put it off for a while because yeah, it is quite a difficult subject. Obviously I don't have an autism diagnosis or anything like that, but it's something I'm considering, and I'm not really sure whether I want to go down that route or not, or whether I just kind of, I don't know, think I'm a bit of a weirdo and that's fine, I don't know. But yeah, so the first one, eye contact. I'm sure like most people that know me know I'm a nightmare. Like I can remember even back like when I was a teenager, like you'd be sit like with my friends, and my one friend particularly used to be like, why are we not like, what's wrong, why would you look at me, and I really struggle. And obviously in awkward situations it's harder, and then if you start thinking about it and you're like, oh shit, should I be giving eye contact? How it doesn't come naturally at all to me to give people eye contact, and it's very intense, I suppose is the word. Like if I do give you eye contact, then yeah, I feel privileged because I don't really give eye contact at all, which is why I probably, even with Jaden, I probably wasn't the first person to notice that he didn't give eye contact because I don't. So yeah, I probably wasn't the first person to pick that one up. Rigidities is huge. Like I don't even know how you explain rigidity. It's like even to other autism mums, like still like you can say the word and some people don't have a clue what you're talking about. So it's not necessarily a set in stone routine. It's that obviously I'm a hairdresser, and I know my week's schedule off the top of my head. Like every single client, not that I have a great memory, but I have to know off the top of my head every single day which the orders of my clients, what I'm doing, everything like that. Like I could just reel off a list of what I'm doing each day for the next 7 days. Like I have to have that in my brain. So obviously it's something I've struggled with all through my life, but when I started at the salon, obviously I was self-employed, so from that point of view I was in control of my column, but say I came into work at 10 and somebody else had been in at 9 and I'd had a gap in my day, it could be the simplest of things. Oh, I've just popped a kid's cut in there. In my head, I would have a complete melt. I can't do that. I can't do it. It wasn't in my book. It's not in my book. And they'd put it in my book, and I know like that's fine. There's no reason for me to panic, but I would have a full blown like internal meltdown. I just want to go home. I'm like, I can't cope. I can't do that. I just need to leave. And it never really went away. Like for the full, how many years? Probably like 6, 7, no. 8 years? On and off 8 years. I was in salons, and if that ever happened, I just had to say to people, just don't book anything in on the same day. Walk in the door. I can't do walk-in. I can't do it. And I'd make up all excuses, and I'd say like, oh, which are half true. Like, you know, people that come in as walk-in are a pain in the ass. They're not a client that you want anyway. Blah blah blah. But I just can't do it. It's not planned. I need a plan. I can't have no. Just no. There's no like. Yeah, to somebody that doesn't have that, then that's probably quite hard to understand. So it's not a set in stone. Every day has to be the same from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed, which would obviously be like a million times harder. But when I wake up in the morning and I know my routine and I know who I'm seeing, what I'm doing, if those plans change, I can't cope with last minute changes. And the other thing I can't cope with is maybe. Like, oh yeah, maybe we'll see you later, maybe we'll do it. No, no, yes or no. If it's no, that's fine, just tell me no, but I can't deal with maybe. Just don't say maybe. Um, and then the other stupid ones are like petrol stations. I have two like petrol stations I can use, and if I haven't planned it, like, so like at the minute I've got fuel in my tank, but my fuel light's always on for a day. Does that make sense? So like the day my fuel light comes on, I prepare myself for the fact that the following day I have to put fuel in my car. I can't just drive past the petrol station. Oh, I need petrol. I go get petrol. Like I have to like plan it, and then it still probably has to get to I've got like 20 miles, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll actually go to the petrol station now because it's not good if I don't. Whereas like I couldn't. Yeah, I can't make myself. Supermarkets, I'm not as bad with as I used to be, but like the social interaction, you don't actually have to talk. But in general, I could always go to like the one little Sainsbury's by my house, but there's to actually have to walk into Sainsbury's or Morrison's or something. I'm not so bad at the moment, but I go through phases, and I guess it like crosses over with like social anxiety that like there are days when I sit in Morrison's car park for half an hour and then I can't face going in Morrison's, so I drive to Sainsbury's by my house and get like a couple of things from there, which I don't really know why that's like that, but that's just one of those. The next big one, which again, like I don't know what anyone else can hear, so to me I guess it's fairly normal, but say like say you're sat in a cafe or a restaurant, the level of the noise of the person I'm talking to, obviously it can be quite loud in there anyway, but because it's quite loud and you can hear people talking and everything else, I suppose you wouldn't expect to hear, I can hear someone picking cutlery up that's like the other side of the room. I can hear the coffee machines. I can hear like the clink and clunk of people picking up and putting down, like if there's a stack of plates and they're putting the plates up and down. That to me is like 10 times louder than the person sat talking to me, and it takes a hell of a lot to be able to concentrate on like the conversation that I'm having, which is again probably why I then struggle with like eye contacting and appearing to be in that situation, because I'm kind of like struggling to process like everything else that's going on around me. The same with lights. I can't deal with so like all the Christmas lights now. I could deal with them if they're slow and they're not too flashy, but like the really fast, I was always the pain in the ass of the salon, because like if people have like in the windows or like around the stations and everything to have like really fast moving or fast flashing lights, I can't have them on fast patterns, and I'd probably make an excuse and say like clients, some clients can't cope with it, blah blah blah, and I'd turn them on to like the slowest barely moving setting because I just can't cope with that kind of thing. Social stuff, yeah, I'm just horrendous. Like I don't really socialise with more than maybe like 2 people at a time. If I have to go out in any kind of group situation, that's a huge like I just freak the hell out, can't do it. My ex-husband used to hate it because they like, on the rare occasions that we did go out to like a bar or a club or something with like friends, I'm just a nightmare because I'd just be stuck to him, and he'd obviously want to like talk to people, do things, and I'd just be like, and we'd end up arguing because I'd just be like, I can't cope. But at the time I had no idea why, I didn't really understand it, and he was just like, you're clingy and weird, like get a life. And I could go to the toilet on my own or anything like that. I'd literally like force him to like walk me to the toilet, walk me back. He'd just be like, just go on your own, or like get one of the girls to go with you. I'd be like, no, you have to walk me to the door, you have to wait there, and you have to walk back. Just general like reading people, I suppose. Like I'm not very good at like reading people, not just in social situations but in any situations, of how you should react to people and that kind of thing, which then crosses over into like empathy. Now my idea of empathy, I think I never understood this until maybe a couple of years ago, and I had a massive argument with one of my really close friends because I was like, my idea of empathy is probably completely different to other people. So rather than just being like, oh my god, I understand what you're going through, I think I tend to take it too far, and like to some people then they're like, you're making it about you, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just saying this is what, when I went through a similar situation, this is what happened, or this is how, and I don't really necessarily understand that that's taking away from their experience. I'm trying to kind of say, I understand, because that's my way of showing that I understand, by saying, well, oh, I've been through something similar, but I never understood that to somebody else that could mean, why are you making it about you? It's not about you, it's about me. This isn't about you. Which again, like I get accused all the time of being very, very self-centered, which until like a couple of years ago I would have been like, no, what are you talking about? And then it's only recently I'm like, actually, yeah, my entire world is me, Jade, and Ella. Like nobody else really like registers in my world. Obviously Tom used to, but like I don't know, that is my bubble, isn't it? That's my world, my home. Which yeah, my house is my safe place, the same as Jade. Like we I don't know, I don't like people coming to my house, which like I mean obviously there's a few exceptions, but in general I don't like people in my house. I don't feel comfortable with people in my house. I'm always on edge of people who are in my house. Like I'm not really comfortable with just like I sure as hell going back to like rigidities and things, like you can't just text me and be like, oh, I'm on my way, I'm popping over, or just knock on the door. I would have a complete freak out. And not just because I haven't tidied up, just because I'm not mentally prepared for somebody being in my house. So they're probably the biggest. I'm sure there's like plenty more that I've missed off. This video was actually partly inspired by Stephanie Davis from Hollyoaks. She's recently been diagnosed with high functioning autism, borderline personality disorder, I think, don't quote me on that one, and ADHD amongst other things. And she'd made a couple of videos on YouTube, and I kind of watched those and I was like, oh my god, that is so relatable. Oh, because there's another thing, one thing that she mentioned which I would never have thought of in a million years, like going places and doing things. You know, like how people are adventurous and they're like, oh my god, we're just going to take off, we're going to go here, there, the other way. I can't. Like, people must think I'm quite weird because, say, like, I want to day out with the twins. There's probably, like, a list of, like, 4 or 5 places I take them because they're Jaden's safe places and they're my safe places as well, because with Jade or not, they're places that I feel comfortable, and anywhere that I don't know, same with restaurants, anything like that. And obviously, like, oh, we're going to food in a minute because I forgot about food. Places that I feel that I know, that I understand, that kind of, like, yeah, that I could cope with. So, like, yeah, the list isn't very long of places that I'll go. Like, if I just want a random day out in by the water, we go to Stourport. There's no, like, I wouldn't just put a pin in a map and be like, oh my god, we're going there. I could not do that in a million years. If I've got somebody else taking me, possibly, depending like what research I've done and that kind of thing, but I couldn't just like get up one morning and go somewhere random in a million years. And then obviously, yeah, food. I'm horrendous with food. I live on processed crap, and everybody kind of thinks that that's just, I don't know, laziness. It's not. It's the predictability of it, because how to explain it? At McDonald's, because it's a production line, it's never gonna. It doesn't change. It doesn't really taste any different. The chips might be a little bit, but I don't really eat the chips. I have to look at the chips from every angle to check them for like marks or whatever. Because obviously, if they've got a black mark on, or they're a bit soggy, a bit like wonky, not straight. Yeah, there's like a million reasons why I can't eat something and not many reasons why I do. So yeah, anything processed I kind of can live on because it's predictable and I already know what it's going to taste like. But actual proper food, I'm horrific. Like, if I went to a restaurant, there's probably like 2 or 3 things that I'd order. Like, another thing my ex-husband used to struggle with, because I'd go to a restaurant and I'd only ever have lasagna or hunter's chicken. So I could go somewhere new so long as I knew that they had those things. And then if you get there and I don't know, they run out of lasagna, or they just don't do hunter's chicken, I'd have a complete panic attack. So I'd be like, well, what can I have? I don't think I can eat anything. Just like, for God's sake, get a fucking life. Just try something new. Like, oh, maybe I could have gammon, and then I'd like go around in circles for 10 minutes. And like, I don't know if I can eat gammon or not, because what's it gonna be like, and it might be different. And yeah, I'm generally just horrific with food. Fruit. So like, I love grapes, but I'll sit and look at them for like 10 minutes sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna taste like, and I'll just look at them and I'll be like, I want to eat them, and I know I like them, but grapes could taste quite different, can't they? Like, they can be quite sweet and they can be quite, not sharp, but you know, they're not always predictable, and I'll just sit and stare at them, and then the chances are I'll put them back in the fridge and not have a single one. Whereas a normal person, you know, you bite into the first one, you don't like it, oh, I want to have another one. I can't put that first bit into my mouth. Obviously, like, eating in other people's houses and things is hard work, because you kind of try to eat what they give you, but even like, I don't eat baked beans. If somebody gives me some baked beans and it's touching the chips and that kind of, just, yeah, don't even. So I have like a really limited diet, and before I had the twins, I kind of promised myself that I would make a big effort to eat things, but I can't. So I think that's the majority of now. So now we're going to skip back to when I was a kid. And if anybody makes it through the entire of this video, well done, because it's going to be quite a long one. As a child, so I have like no memories of being really young, which I know a lot of people find weird, but like, I don't know, I was probably like 5 in my first memories, so I don't know what I was like when I was just like young, like Jane's kind of age or younger, because I just don't remember. I don't remember starting school, but I can remember it being very distressing. I can remember I was that kid that cried, and not just like hung on to mum for 2 seconds when she was leaving. I cried for hours, and they couldn't ever really do a lot, and they just kind of said, oh, it was because I hadn't really done enough nursery or anything, because my mum was a childminder. She tended to just kind of keep me at home with the kids that she had childminding. I don't think I really went to like a nursery as such, maybe like toddler groups and things, but I don't think, well, not a lot of kind of like actual nursery or anything. So I was very like overly attached to my mum, which is the same comment as I get all the time about Jaden, that he's overly attached to me. Like, well, I'm his person, so it's going to be. So yeah, at school, academically, I don't think I really struggled, but socially, massively. I'd maybe have like 1 or 2 friends, but if they weren't around, you know, there's a playtime and there's, again, being out of routine, it's not the normal people that you'd play with. They were maybe off ill or they were doing something, and then I'd just have a complete panic and just wander around lost, and that probably went on for like the majority of primary school. I don't really have good memories of primary school at all, because I was just that complete, I'm trying to think of a nice word for it, loser. No, I don't mean loser, but like, I was the kid that, I don't know, followed the diddle lady around, didn't have, I don't know, didn't have any friends, used to tell stupid stories. Like, I don't think I even understood that they were stories. So, you know, like, when you went back to school on a Monday, they'd be like, right, write down what you did over the weekend. And I'd be like, well, we didn't do anything interesting to write about. So I'd write like an elaborate story about how we like went in a hot air balloon, or like, which I'd never do because I'm terrified of heights. Yeah, so I'd write some like complete made up thing, and then the teacher would be like saying to my parents, like, I don't understand why she's written, like, why is she writing that? That's not obviously what was going on in the slightest. So I don't know. I don't know whether I knew it was real or it wasn't, or whether I don't know. But that's what I used to do. Food as a child is probably why I'm as horrific as I am now, because obviously with Jaden, I try to I'll always give him safe foods, and then if he doesn't eat, I mean, well, not rarely, but like, I don't give him things out of his comfort zone all of the time. The majority of the time he eats things that he's happy to eat, because he has not a balanced diet, but he has, well, it's not a concern of what he eats, because he eats things from each food group. So he'll eat chicken, he'll eat some types of potato, blah, blah, blah. So he has like things from each food group as a child, and I think it's partly just like a generation thing. As a child, I was not force fed, but not eating it wasn't an option. It wasn't even like, if you don't eat that, you'll go hungry. It was, you're not leaving the table until you've eaten that. And I think like, I look back and I think like, if I've not eaten mashed potato, or I've cried about eating mashed potato for the last 5 years, why are you still even putting it on my plate? Like, to be like, I wouldn't ever do that to Jaden. Like, textures. Still now, the thought of mashed potato, like, I could literally puke on the spot just thinking about it. Like, not even, ugh, I couldn't even touch it. Baked beans, peas, like anything of that texture is the main thing that I struggle with. But obviously also anything I don't know. But back then it was mainly the textures, it was things touching. But yeah, not eating wasn't an option, so I was essentially like forced to eat, which I think has made me like a million times worse now, rather than kind of that slow introduction of new foods and maybe try a bite of this and that kind of thing. It was horrific, and I'd be sat there for hours because I couldn't eat anything. Like, yeah, it's I don't know, maybe that was the 80s in this as well, but starving kids in Africa, and I must have heard that a million times, but I would have rather starved than eat that kind of food. Noise as a child, I don't remember noise as such. I can't, again, like, I don't really know what other kids heard or how they could hear and all those kind of things, but lights, I can remember being a huge thing as a child. I had a dimmer light put in my bedroom in the end, because, you know, like when your mum came in the morning and like woke you up or whatever, she put the light on, I would scream the house down and say it was painful because I couldn't open my eyes, and it would go on for hours, and my mum used to be like, oh my god, what's wrong with you, calm down, because they weren't things that ever would have been picked up on back then. I don't think the fact that obviously I was high functioning, there wasn't obvious kind of signs that I was struggling as such. Yeah, but going from dark to light or anything like that was physically like painful. And I have got I can't remember what it's called, like slow reacting, probably see now my pupils are massive, slow reacting eyes. So my pupils generally are like bigger anyway, which I don't know what that's connected to, but yeah, I've got slow reacting pupils. So if you suddenly turn the light on in a dark room or something like that, I really struggle with it. Or like headlights going the other way when you're driving and all those kind of things. And I just thought of something else and I completely forgot what it was again. I can't even remember what I was going to say. Leading on from lights. Oh, I can't remember. My memory is horrific. Whatever it was, it'll come to me, and I'm sure I'll do another video at some point. But no, whatever it was, it's completely gone. Yeah, so that's been probably not actually the longest. Coming up to 22 minutes. But yeah, I haven't made a decision on whether I want to go down the whole route of kind of getting diagnosed. Obviously, I'm still fighting for Jade's diagnosis, and that's taking all my time and energy and everything else. My GP isn't the best. I mean, he's fine with medical things in terms of like actual medical conditions, but when it comes to anything mental health related or all of these kind of like things, he's quite dismissive. Like I took Jaden in there last week because he had conjunctivitis, which obviously not connected to anything else, but the doctor mentioned, oh, he started school, and I kind of thought, oh, we'll go on a bit of a tangent here. So I kind of said, oh, so obviously you get his paediatrician's letters, notes, whatever, and he kind of, oh yeah. And I said, oh, we are now obviously on our way to Umbrella Pathway, and this, that, and the other, and he just went, oh, did not say a word. And I just thought, thank God I don't need you to fight my corner for anything, because he just has no interest whatsoever. Anything else, you can get him talking for like 20 minutes. Conjunctivitis, on and on and on. Autism, he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, let's go back to what we're doing. And I was just like, oh, okay, rude. But that's, yeah, obviously if I was going to go down that, I'd go and see a different GP, because I don't think he'd even, I think he would be very much of the opinion of kind of like, you're coping you're not outwardly struggling, you're not obviously struggling, blah blah blah, and I don't think he'd even give me whatever, I don't even know what referral you need to get started, but I don't think he'd give me whatever referral I'd need in the first place. I think I'd have to go and see a different GP or find some other kind of professional that could do that. But it's something I'm going to definitely think about, or I've been thinking about probably it's only been the last 6 months really that I've kind of like been thinking about it, and I've kind of realised quite how similar me and Jade are. Obviously he's changing all the time, massively, and even to the child he was a year ago, maybe I wasn't comparable, and the child that he is now I am, if that makes sense. But yeah, it has been a pretty long video. If you've made it to the end, well done, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.